Hey guys, I'm going to shoot another video of the engines for the Luhrs. These are late 90s 5.7 Vortecs. Just rebuilt both of them. Cam bearings out. These are complete builds. I'm really happy with them. They turned out really good. Ran this engine for the client yesterday and probably got it up to close to 6,000 RPMs. It was awesome. This one I've already videoed it and put it up. That's the port engine. But anyway, I wanted to upload the Starboard as well, just to have a reference of the two. And they are basically twin sister engines. They are identical in every respect. Even the rotation, they're both standard rotation. They have the Zenith, I think those are Italian made gearboxes. Really impressive. They're super light, and it's a relief compared to like the old Borg Warners. They're really, great transmissions, but they're heavy as hell. These are, it's amazing how light they are. Anyway, I'm going to fire this engine up, and I just wanted to kind of spell out some of the things I do when I run a marine engine on the hard, starting with the fuel systems. I just run portable tanks. This is Rec 90 fuel. You see how you got the fuel line going in here, and then of course you got the return line coming down out there. I'm not sure if this is wise. Obviously I wouldn't be, I wouldn't have any flames going around it. What I mean is, I don't know if this should be pressurized, this return line, but it's worked. Just dumping the fuel back into the tank and going from there. Brand new exhaust manifolds. These are HGE. I've got those from I use a company called Jerry's Marine Services and Supply down here in South Florida. They're an awesome company. I think you can even buy their parts online and they'll ship them to you, regardless of where you are. I've just got these shorties on here. Typically, if a client's coming out, I'll throw these Vernitones on the back and just, makeshift fashion, so it's much quieter and easier to talk to the client. A lot of times this kind of scares the hell out of them when they hear the loudness. They don't want their boat to be loud. They don't want to hear the engines. For the most part, I've discovered that people don't even really want to know their engines are down there, other than the fact that they're working, which drives me crazy, and we'll cover that later on sometimes in like a service aspect. But anyway, I'm going to fire this. This is the Starboard. I'm going to fire this up and run it a little bit and check the pressure. I don't have the I've still got the temp gauge over on the port engine. Two reasons. I'm kind of lazy. I didn't want to pull it out and dump coolant everywhere. I want to drain the coolant off before I remove that, otherwise it's going to dump coolant everywhere. And I've already run this engine probably about 2 hours already with the temp gauge. I know the temps are fine, so I'm not taking a chance here. Oh yeah, I think this is really important. I'll mention it really briefly. When I build an engine, or two engines or whatever, it's brutally tight in the engine room compartment. I still build them up with the complete exhaust systems completely finished. But then what I do, after I've broken the engines in and changed the oil, I pull the risers, and it makes it so much easier to get in the boat. And then once you're in the boat, obviously we know that the exhaust systems in the boat are fixed. They're not going anywhere. And once you get to this hard, well, I don't think it's hard wall, but this exhaust pipe and plumbing, it's almost impossible to connect from A to B down at the exhaust when everything's together, because it's so freaking tight. So it works out really well. You assess the length of this. Let's say it's 42 inches, 60 inches, 30 inches, whatever. And then you pre-cut that, install it in the exhaust system, and then just simply slide your risers into it and down, obviously with new block-off plates if you're running closed-cooled, or whatever appropriate gasket you need there. And another thing, I was talking about the systems, the fuel. I like doing this. Most people will just either stick a water hose in the inlet hose here, but I like running a huge capacity of water. Obviously I don't run the tank. I don't run it, you know, until I'm ready. I turn the water on too soon, and long story short, it's flooding everywhere. It's no big deal, but I like the idea of this water hose is stuck into. Let me pull this up. It's stuck into this hose, but it's not. In other words, the water hose is not just filling this tank and risking cranking up the engine, getting distracted, and this hose coming out. But this water hose actually travels all the way up through this hose, probably to about, you know, within a short distance of that. So the water is obviously blasting into that oil cooler, and then that way you're assured that you don't. It's one less thing to have to watch and worry about while you're running an engine. So I got long-winded there, but I think those are important things to consider when you're breaking in an engine, because you know, you're at a boat yard, you're surrounded by people walking up, distracting you, and everyone's curious. They want to hear the engine fire, and it's really frustrating. I hate that, but it is what it is. So I'm going to prime the system, see if we can get it to, see if you can listen. If you can listen, I'm going to set this here so you can hear the, possibly hear the fuel pump. Got distracted myself. Oh, wrong switch. Alright, there it is. She's ready to rock. Okay. May have the phone upside down. I hope not. Okay, again, like the port engine, I haven't set the final timing yet. It's fairly close. Like it's okay to run them like that. I'm probably within just a few degrees. But anyway, also this is a strange issue right here. I've got this set up where this is just propped up against this air cleaner to help hold it at certain RPMs. When you turn it, you see how it fell back on this throttle body in here. Somebody got into it and kind of screwed with it. No pun intended, but so that you could change the set screw, and which I think is actually a great idea, because you're able to actually adjust the idle settings. Where I'm going with this, this is obviously all plugged off, and this one's will not idle. You know, it's dropping all the way back. Even when it's warm, it won't idle. So I'm a little concerned about that to some degree, but otherwise she's ready to rock. I talked to the client about that. If anything, if we can't determine why it's not idling just here on the hard, at a minimum, when I hard mount the throttle cable, I will adjust everything so that, again, when the owner's at the helm, you're not having to think about the engine. You're not having to, you know, hold the engine up or support it. If you want to go to idle, you just simply pull the throttles back. You want to go forward, you push the throttle forward. You know, it's as simple as that. I don't want the clients having to, you know, be ginger with things. So anyway, great project. These turned out really good. They're Bimini worthy. They're ready to rock and roll. Appreciate you guys checking in.